So I try to present you OPAM, so the new package manager for OCaml. So it's a work funded by JustStreet and by European Union grants. Started 6 months ago, which already has 10,000 lines of code, 1,000 commits, 9 contributors, even if 95% of the contribution came from 2 people. So it's open source. There's already 200 packages, so all the Oasis DB things are packaged, plus a few other libraries that we are using. 10 contributors to the packaging as well, even if then maybe 80% came from 3 people this time. And you get the online website, and then you get as well a Git repository where you can pull request new packages, and so I will explain how it works. And so it's not yet the stable version, but we hope to have a 1.0 version very soon, so maybe in 1 month. Nice. So before starting, I just want to make a small poll. So how many people here are using Godot to use OCaml? Okay. And how many people are happy with Godot? Okay. How many people are using Oasis DB, ODB or whatever? Okay. And how many are happy with ODB? Okay. How many people are using OPAM? Yeah. How many people are happy with OPAM? Yay! I can stop. Okay, so
another poll: who wants to use OCaml sources to be on GitHub? One pro at a time, please.
Okay, so just try to introduce a small bit of context. So why is it difficult to design a good package manager for OCaml? So as everybody knows, OCaml is a very strongly typed, and to reflect the strong types, the compiler had some checks at compile time to be sure that when you link compiling together, you have the right, you still get the right types applied. So it means that it's more complex than any integrated languages or non-typed languages or whatever. So for instance, if you have a lot of modules which depends, so the arrow is just dependency. If you change one module, you have to compile the other ones. And so if you modify foo, you have to recompile b and then to recompile a, and then so if you forgot to recompile one of the chain, the compiler will not let you link everything together. Yeah. And so when you make packages, what you do is you put together compilation units, and then the dependency relation is still valid between, well, it's another approximation of the original one. So here, for example, if you modify bar, the compiler, well, the package manager will compile P and Q and R, even if it's not necessary, but it's, well, you have to do that as well. Okay, so just to okay, so how do you manage dependency currently in OCaml and what OPAM had? So in Godot, when you want to create a new package, you have to create a file, a Godiva file, and this file is stored outside of the package and describe how you build the package, what are the dependencies, and so on. When you use Oasis, you have to write an _Oasis file, where you describe all the dependencies and so on, but it is inside the package. So if you do an error, you have to change the package and create a new version with the right dependency in it, and so it's not very easy to change the dependency there. And so in OPAM, we take the good bits of Godot, which is we have an OPAM file which describes the dependency, and this is outside the package itself, so you can fix the dependency if they are broken. So Godot, I think the Godiva file, I'm not sure people really write Godiva file manually, but they take the meta file, which are already written by the packager, and generate automatically the Godibah file. And as in the meta you don't have any version constraint, you don't have any, well, in Godot you don't have any version constraint as well. So every time you want to upgrade your packages, you will take the latest version for every packages, and sometimes that break, and very often that breaks, but it's just my experience. So in Oasis you can express constraints, but only positive constraints, and only a conjunction of constraints. And so OPAM, so we use SATsolver to solve the constraints. So we have, well, you can express conflicts, alternatives, and choice. Okay. So a small example here is the CoHTTP package. Not exactly the one which is packages, but how we can package it. So you have one rule which is the build. So which command you have to run when you want to install the package. So you see there are some weird. Okay, I forgot to put some percent here, but no, you have percent bracket and bracket percent to say that it's something which is rewritten by OPAM. So if async install is installed, this is written as enabled, and if it is not installed, it is written as disabled. So you have a configure script which depends on the current state of the system, and then you can express some dependency like. Well, I need either eligibility or async because it's functorized over the monadic signature. It's a bit crazy, but and so you just give one of both.
It works.
Yeah. So yeah, sure. So you just need either so you need eligibility or async or both. That will work. And you have as well optional dependency like. I'm not sure that's true, but if MirageNet is there, the Mac will do some specific thing and compile that differently. So if you don't have MirageNet, you can compile async, but if you have it, you have to recompile it to take the change into account. So for instance, if you install LWT and HTTP, that will work. Then you do some work there and you compile new packages. And then when you install async, what you have to do is to first install HTTP, then install async, then install HTTP with the right configure option, well, if you want to do that manually. So. And then recompile any packages depending on, not LWT, but on HTTP. So when you do that manually, that's very, very tedious. And so OPAM just automatize that completely. Yeah.
If you just install CoHTTP, how does it pick whether to install LWT or async or both?
I think you choose one solution because it's a SATsolver. And if you want to, well, when you say LWT here, you tell the SATsolver that you want LWT, and async is not necessary. But if you want async, you just pick async.
You guarantee that you won't get async if you have to. Maybe the SATsolver will decide.
So normally, so it's NP complete problem, so you don't, and we don't test every solution, so it's heuristics.
I think it's possible to put a preference in the SATsolver, but it's not used by OPAM.
Yeah, it's not used because
something that has to be added.
Yeah. So currently, I think we try to not install too many packages, but maybe something that. Okay, so that was just managing dependencies, and you can manage different repositories as well. So, for instance. So how does it work compared to other package management? So in Godot you have one central repository which is an SVN repository where when you want to add a new package, you have to add your files, you have to edit some files, run some scripts which update new files, and then you commit it to SVN. But before you have to ask Gerd to have the new repository, and then you hope that you didn't break everything because that's the main repository. So if you break everything, everybody will when they try to upgrade, they will upgrade this last state as well as it's not very good. In Oasis and Oasis DB, you have one central repository, which is CAML4. But in ODB, I think there is package files where you can describe another dependency as well, so it's quite nice because you can have your own package file and give it to your friend and share it, and so it's good. And so in OPAM, we choose the better way, or the best of the two ways. So we have distributed repositories, kind of like Git, and we also we keep the description in a in a version control system as well. So if you have some errors, you can roll back to the previous version. It's still using Git, and so you can add new repository, remove repository. If you are an organization, you can create your own repository with your own packages on it, and stuff like that. So for instance, you have and you have different backends for the repository. So it's HTTP, locally using rsync, and Git, because I'm using Git. But if people want SVN, I can put that using it. Not sure why. And so for instance, here you have a remote HTTP server which store A and B. On the local machine, you have a new description package for A, and on some remote Git repository, the description package for C. And so you can do remote add, give a name to the remote and the location, and so on. So it's very similar to Git if you are used to Git. And so it's useful to setting up new repository for organizations. You can cache as well archives if you don't want network access when you build packages. It's very nice to create a small repository to test for new packages. So I think I did that for the new version of Core, and it was quite useful to test it. And the last thing with OPAM, you can manage different compiler at the installation at the same time, more or less at the same time. So when you install a new version of OCaml in your system, you need to recompile every packages. So that's something that is tied to the package manager. So that's why we support it. And then when you actively hack on OCaml and you patch OCaml, you want to be sure that every library is compiled with the right version of the patched OCaml version, because otherwise. And so how does it work with over package manager? So for Godi, for instance, you have, I think, so Godi installs his own version of OCaml at the beginning with the bootstrap stage. And then you rely on upstream for the new version, the new available version. And when a new version is available, you can upgrade and it will install everything and recompile everything. In Oasis, there is no notion of compiler. It's just, it's use the one, Oasis or Oasis DB. It uses the one which is on the system. There is another package manager that I didn't really discuss about, it's Barbara. It's like the way it's Rebar, Erlang style package manager, where you install everything in one subtree, and then when you don't really care, you remove everything and you create a new subtree. And so OPAM is like Barbara, but on one. Okay. So OPAM installs everything on one subtree locally, but it can use pre-installed version of compiler. You can install new version on the subtree as well. So you can do that. And so for instance, you can write a package compiler description files. So here you say that the compiler 4.0.0 is available at this location. To compile it, you make roll out. And then you have to just update the camel library pass to be sure that you have the right submit. And so when you have that available, you can do switch to get 4.0, and it will download the package and create a new environment fresh where you can insert the packages. Okay. And last point is just how you developed using OPAM. So there is as well a concept of version pinning. So we say, I want to, for instance, I want to use not the React, the upstream version of React, but my own version of React. So you can say that now React is located to my local path here. And so when you do update, you will try to rsync between the local path and the cached version he has locally. And so you will see there is some update. And so when you upgrade React, you will recompile React and hold the dependency of React. So you can have a lot of development version of packages, modify them locally, upgrade everything, and that will recompile every for dependency. Yeah, and then I think, I'm not sure. Yeah. So just the last slide. So what would be very nice to have now is a way to say I want to compile, I want to get an environment when I compile every packages using the dash G flag, for example, or using the dash P flag, or using a specific option of the compiler. And currently it's not very possible to do that because you have to hack every makefile of all the packages to add the option somewhere. And so that's a number in the, I think that's a Mantis number. So that would be very nice to be able to just set up some environment variable at the beginning and recompile every packages using that flag. And then using the switch thing, you can as well think about cross-compilation. So there's someone asked me a question just before. You can install different compiler on different environments, and then try to cross-compile. Currently doesn't work very well, but because you need some binaries from the host to be present in the path, and generate binaries from the target character. But it's not very clear to do that correctly yet. So if you want to use OPAM, just build OPAM installer OPAM.